Hello, today we will trying to understand the sentiment of market by the example of current scenario. The scenario that we saw in last 2 days market is falling sharply. We will talk some about the fall in March month, and we will try to understand thoroughly the reasons why this is happening by example of events that I research in some newspapers and the articles. So I'll try to elaborate how those events that happen in past 6 months affected the market and resulting in this fall. Start the video. Current sentiment in our market is telling us that market is falling right now. But why stock market is falling? I googled this and I found this result in this article. It is blaming the lower than expected result of Infosys and TCS, the IT companies, and the reason for the bad result is weak demand from BFSI companies. So, what these BFSI companies are? BFSI companies are banking, financial services, and investment companies. So, before going to this article, let's remember that before this downtrend in a Indian market, there is a crisis, Credit Suisse crisis happening in the US, and just after that, Silicon Valley Bank falls, and many major banks in US went to bankruptcy. That crisis in US also impacted the world banking system and also our Indian banks. So BFSI companies are basically banking companies, and it has impacted our IT sector, which is already in fall. Let's see the article. What is it is telling us more. Of the overall revenue of the IT sector, the BFSI companies are the major contributor in the revenue of IT companies. And because of the weak demand of BFSI companies, it slowed down the revenue growth in IT companies, resulting in the sharp fall in the our IT companies and the major IT companies like Infosys and TCS. And it is not only the IT companies like Infosys and TCS, Tech Mahindra, Wipro, HCL, and LTI have also witnessed selling pressure. And in the March month, when IT companies are falling, not only IT companies are falling, it is also led the fall in major companies like Reliance Industries of 13%. Also DV's Lab fall around the 16%. Infosys fell from the starting with the other IT companies, and it fell around 16% from the year to date. This is how we see the fall in March month. Let's talk about the current fall. Back in 2022, when after COVID, when inflation is rising around the world, all governments are seeking to control that rising inflation. Started from USA, there is the Federal Open Market Committee, also called the FOMC. They started a campaign on the Federal Reserve rate hike. High rates means the slowing down the inflation and rising the risk of recession. So basically, they are trying to slow down the inflation and making the recession-like condition in the U.S. economy. We are doing same in India by rising repo rates. Uh, and after doing this so many times in last 1 year, finally we are in the recession-like condition, and now government is taking a pause from rate hike, and pause from rate hike is the reason for current market fall. From this article, you can also see the recession-like condition also hurt prices of all kinds of investment in our market. This is the cost of defeating inflation. In another article from the Morgan Stanley, you can see that it is from the 17th May 2023. It is telling that a look at past Fed rate pauses from the historical data suggests more turbulence may be in the store for investors. They are telling that we can see the volatility in the market, and in another keynote, they are telling from the historical data that after the pause, it is more often markets start falling in the end of the Fed rate cycle. So we can see two things from here. This is about to end the Fed rate cycle, and the market is already started falling, and this is the main reason. Not only in US Fed, in India also. Just 2 days ago, when markets started falling, RBI announces a monetary policy and keeps repo rate unchanged at 6.5%. So this is the reason. Another thing I have to mention is that There is another article from US News. Now they are telling the brief on the 2023 market movements. They're telling them on the first half of the this year, uh, US indexes are tend to pivot on the lows of the 2022, and then the second half it will recover later in this year, pushing up the S&P 500 by 4,200 here. So this is also nature of our market, that our Indian indexes tend to follow the US indexes. So if they are suggesting that US indexes may retest the 2022 levels, so our market will also tend to follow this. So there are the two reasons that March fall is because of the bank crisis in US that make Indian IT stocks fall more, and the second that currently happening is because the in global economy, US is taking a pause from rate hike, RBI also taking a pause from rate hike. And historically, we know that this increased the volatility in the market, and also tend to fall more often after that pause. So that's all for today. Thank you.